Welcome back to Casino Guitars. This is Jonathan again. We did a video a couple days ago, I guess maybe a week ago now, about the Nashville Number System, and it seems like you guys enjoyed it. We got some really good comments, lots of likes, and we appreciate that. So there was an overwhelming, desire in the comments. It seemed to do a little more in-depth video about the Nashville Number System. So this is going to be part 2. We'll go, a little more in depth with the system, answer some of the questions that were in the comments, and hopefully by the end you'll have an even better understanding of how to write some charts and how to use the Nashville Number System in your bands or church services or wherever you might want to use it. So when I was playing in Nashville and in random churches, I usually would have charts on my iPad. I think Derek is actually going to put the overlay of this chart so you'll be able to see it. But so I've got hundreds of charts like this saved on my iPad, and some of them can get kind of complicated. They have all kinds of crazy symbols. You'll be able to see this on the video, but you'll see tons of diamonds on this particular chart. Instead of the underlines like we talked about in the last video, there's boxes. They're the same thing. There's some notes on this to modulate minor third to the key of B from the key of A flat. So there's all kinds of crazy things you can write down. And some of the comments asked, hey, what if I want to play a 7th chord, or if I want to play a minor 6, or things like that. There's ways to notate those things, but I think what you have to remember too is that this system started in the studio. So a lot of times those things weren't there yet. Those guys just had the skeleton for the song and they worked all that out. So some of the charts you see are just bare bones to help you remember the chord progression and the rhythmic things that are happening in the song. But I guess as it's kind of evolved and people use it live now, there are ways to write all those things. So let's jump in there. So what if you've got a progression? And just as a review, if you didn't see our last video, I think there's going to be a link to it probably in the comments and in the little info section of this video. So check out the first video if you're new and you're starting here. But like we said before, we're just every number is a chord based on whatever key we're in the progression. So let's say we've got 2, 5, 1, 1, which let's say we were in the key of G. That'd be A minor, and then D, and then 2 measures of G. So let's say that's what it is, and I'm writing a chart in numbers. Nothing says that I can't just write what I want the chord to be beside it, just like I would on a letter. So I could literally write 2, little minor 7 up there. I could write 5 with a little 9. I could write 1, major 7, major 7. So I might end up with a progression like 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the 5 as a 9 chord. The 1 is a major 7 chord. So I can write those things down. I can get as crazy as I want. Most of the time, though, if you're using this system, you'll have heard the tune. You'll hear the sort of chord qualities, and you'll just add them, or you'll be that. Sometimes even that's up to your own discretion when you're using a system like this. But yeah, nothing says that you can't just write the chords. In fact, a lot of times this would be a minus sign instead of a little minor, so that you don't get confused with a dominant 7th and a minor 7th. But anyways, in a lot of the country charts I was playing, that's what I'd see a lot of times. I would just see little 7s. So if I was playing something and the whole thing is going to be dominant 7ths, instead of it being G, C, D, C, it might be G7 and C7, then D7. And actually, that's not what the chart said. I played it opposite from what I wrote on the chart. But you get the picture. I can write a 7th beside the chords if I want them to be a 7th. So you can do that. You can just write, if you want some extension or you want a 7th chord or a major 7th chord, it's fine just to write that. And remember, when you see these charts, in certain little groups, you're going to see people have different sort of styles of notation. They're going to write them slightly differently. But the basic things that we talked about in video 1 are all going to be the same. Here's the thing that I think is interesting that you can do on these charts that's a little more in depth, that is really helpful when you're trying to play a song that maybe has walk-ups or like certain inversions. Now, if you don't know what an inversion is, Google that. Or sometimes you might think of them as guitar players as slash chords. So something like D over F sharp. We're playing like a D chord and putting an F sharp note in the bass. you know, or something like A/C sharp. We're playing an A chord and putting a C sharp note in the bass. If you're not familiar with those inversions or slash chords or whatever you want to call them, Google that. It's good stuff. It's great information. It'll make your playing more interesting. But you come across those a lot in songs, and there's a great way to notate those in the Nashville number system. If you see this, I've got my little underline on these two chords, which means they're going to split the measure. So this is going to get 2 beats, and that's going to get 2 beats. But this thing, it starts to look crazy like a fraction or something. All this says, the 1, obviously, let's say we're in the key of G again, just for simplicity's sake. The 1 would just be my G for 2 beats. Now, over here I've got 5 and a slash and a 7. So the first half of the slash, that's the 5 chord. So that's just the D. The 7 is telling me what note I'm going to put in the bass. And I have to remember, here's where it was tricky for me in the beginning. If we're in the key of G, this 7 is the 7 for the key of G, which is an F sharp. So this 5/7 is just a way to write D/F sharp. So all this first measure is saying is I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of just going G to D, I'm going G to that F sharp and a D chord. Just like you'd see if someone wrote G and then D/F sharp. If it was a different progression, let's say that we were in the key of D, it might be D, 2, and then A/C sharp would be the 3 and the 4. So just, you know, whatever key you're in. Over here, I've got 6 minor, which would be my E minor, and I've got 2 dots over it. That means it's going to get the 2 beats. 1, 2. 1/3 would be my G. The 3 in the key of G is the B, so that's G/B. So I'd be playing 1, 2, 3, and then my 4th beat actually is a C. So I'd actually, just 1 beat there, just 1 beat there, E minor, 2, G/B, C. So in time it would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'd go to my 5, 2, 3, 4, and then a C, 2, 3, 4. So if I played this whole 4 chords, this whole progression, it would sound more like this. So that's cool because I know all the little inversions I'm playing, which I could write them out in chords, but this way I also know exactly how I want to play them with the beat. And that is super helpful, especially in a tune that you know, are not familiar with, you've never seen it before, you're recording it for the first time, somebody requested it live on a gig and you got to get through it and somebody has a chart. That is crazy helpful, and it makes it sound a little less generic than if I just played this G, D, E minor, C, D, C. This way I get all my little walk downs and walk ups. So you see that a lot. That's another really helpful part of the Nashville number system, are those inversions. And remember, like I said again, you can sort of notate that however you want. Feel free. The beauty of the Nashville number system is you can kind of take it and make it work for you. You kind of make it your own a little bit. So again, thanks for watching. Hopefully that cleared some things up. Let us know in the comments if there's anything you still have questions about. Click like and subscribe. Click the little bell so you'll see all our new videos. We have new things coming out all the time and some really fun content coming up. Thanks again. Have a great day.